Can you hear me? Test, tasting, salty. Yeah, baby. What's up, everybody? It's me, Mr. Pickles. Who else we got? We got Stu Smith, and we have a guest.
Yeah, that's funny for about the first minute, and then it's annoying. So we have, welcome everybody to the Jim and Stu Show. I'm Jim Edwards, along with my trusty show co-show. I guess I don't have the intro down for the show part. I have the podcast down, but with my buddy Stu Smith. And we have with us a special guest. We don't have guests too often, so it's a big treat for us to have a guest, and it's even bigger treat for the guest. Just playing.
And me, because I have no idea what we're talking about.
Well, I'm feeling special. Good. I'm feeling really special.
I can imagine it's not the first time. So we have Mr. Christopher Voss here with us. I met Christopher about 4 years ago. It's been about 4 years. Yeah, about 4 years ago.
Yep.
In Orlando, Florida, he accosted me. Just came up to me and started talking to me, but luckily it wasn't in the men's room, so I was okay. And Christopher walked up. Shake, nice watch. So Christopher walked up to me and sat down, and he did something that immediately grabbed my attention. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he did that with his wallet. And I said, okay, I'm going to talk to this guy. I'm going to talk to this guy. That was the whole thing. And we've since gone on to become friends. And I'm actually speaking at Christopher's symposium next week. And so we just wanted to bring him on, and his specialty is relationships. And so, Christopher, tell everybody what you do in one sentence. I know you know how to do that. And then tell everybody a little bit about your background and why relationships are so important.
I help people build powerful, meaningful relationships with anyone on planet Earth. It doesn't matter who it is that you want to try and connect with. I can teach you how you can make that connection and build a network, a powerful network of individuals that know, like, and trust you.
No, that wasn't one sentence. I'm just playing. Actually, I apologize. I hit the wrong button. I was going to give you this, but I hit the wrong button, and I apologize. They're right next to each other. It just shows the thin line between love and hate, electronically and otherwise too. Go ahead.
Oops. Just a big oops. So yeah, and I'm very passionate about relationships, and there's one really critical reason why I'm passionate about this. Since I'm alive, I'm on this Zoom, or I'm on this StreamYard with you, the two of you, because of a relationship. Someone took an interest in me. I became friends with someone. Just
your audio left. You muted yourself, Christopher.
I was like a 400-pound dude, really big guy. And I met someone through someone else. And through that relationship, he pulled me into his health and wellness program. I lost a tremendous amount of weight and got healthier. And what was so critical about that is I had a stroke July 1st of 2019. And my wife told the doctor a little bit of the backstory about this gentleman that friended me and put me into his program to help me get healthier. And he said, you want to reach out to that guy. You want to send him a thank you note. You want to send him Christmas cards. You want to constantly show gratitude and appreciation for this person because he saved your life.
Nice.
That weight loss allowed me so that stroke was survivable. If I was over a 400-pound dude, that stroke could have been catastrophic. My wife would be a widow and my children would be fatherless. Normally I tell that story sobbing and bawling, but I've told it a lot, so I'm able to get through it. Sometimes I get emotional, but it's a relationship that saved my life. And relationships right now, with everything going on in the world, everything that's happened over the last 2 years, it's been crazy. And relationships are what have gotten me through everything. And it's allowed me, I'm a father of 9. I have a large family, and, you've got a lot of different things that pull and tug at you. And so it's really good to have people that love and support you that are behind you in your business adventures, in your personal life. At the end of the day, it's who you like, who likes you, who loves you, who you love at the end of the day. And you're literally one relationship can open up doors of opportunity in your life and in your business. And so my goal is, this is not just an event, Jim, this is a movement. I really want to change the paradigm on how people think about relationships. Relationships to a lot of people are, what can I get? Me. What can I get out of this relationship? And what we teach, and we'll teach a lot about this at the symposium, it's leading with service, leading with value. What can I do for the other person? And if you do that, the opportunities come. People always lead with, well, how can this turn into a joint venture? Or how can I partner up with someone? Or how can they share my stuff? And that's not the way it works. You build the relationship first, and everything else, all the opportunities come after that. But you have to lead with value, lead with service, lead with the relationship. What can I do for you? And then doors of opportunity open. You have to dig your well before you're thirsty. I mean, there's a lot of people that are thirsty right now out there. And if you spent your time digging your wells of relationships, now you can go tap those when you're thirsty. And I know there's a lot of people that are thirsty right now. And I've been thirsty myself. And I have some wonderful friends that I can go to that help me with my business and help me with my life. And so I'm very passionate about relationships. I want people to understand how powerful they are, and they can actually literally work magic in your life.
So I love that Christopher is such a big fan of relationships. He keeps making people to have relationships with. I think that's smart. Now you're 3 more kids and you'll be able to field, 2 more kids and you can field the football team. I guess, 12 is a penalty. So
you got a baseball team right now.
That's right.
That's a crew.
There you go. So what would you say is, somebody's had Harry Potter's calling somebody. I can name that tune in 2 notes. So here's the thing. You just hit on the number one thing the mistake that I think people make with relationships, which is they look at trying to start a relationship with somebody with the specific purpose of getting something out of that person. And how, I guess it's one of those things. It's a double-edged sword of, if I see somebody like, man, I'd really like to have a relationship with them because I think we could do some cool stuff together. Is it manipulative to try and set out and become that person's friend first? How do you separate that selfish motivation from an actual relationship?
One of the best, when I talk about this actual topic, and as I teach my students and talk about that when people have me on their shows, is I think back of when I dated my wife. So I was home from a mission from my church, and the next thing in your life is you find someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with and start a family. So everyone knew that Christopher was in the market to find a wife. And it wasn't like this hidden, like, what's he gonna do next? It's like, the guy's looking for a woman. He wants to find a woman to spend. And so when I approached Jennifer, my wife, she knew that. And when I would do something nice for her, or drop her something off, or leave something at her apartment door, or we go on a date and I would do something nice, every single time I did that, she knew what I was up to, but she wasn't offended. And the thing is, she was put in a situation for me that when I knew to ask her to marry me, I knew pretty much what the answer was going to be. I knew the answer was going to be yes. And so all through that whole process,
you muted yourself again somehow.
Yeah, somehow it's doing that. I'll just keep watching that. She knew what I was up to and knew what the goal was for me, but it never offended her. I never made her feel uncomfortable. I never made her feel like weird or anything like that. And so that's the same thing with building relationships in business too, as well. If you go about it the right way, and if you do it the right way, you can get close to someone, build that relationship, but never make them feel uncomfortable, or never make them have that feeling like, hey, this guy just wants to marry me, and so I'm not interested in this person, versus, hey, this guy's interesting. I want to continue to get to know this person more because they're trying to get interested in me. And so The best quote in the world, Jim and Stu, for this is
I do. What?
Dale Carnegie says it.
You muted yourself again.
There we go. Thank you. I'll keep watching that button.
What do you keep touching?
It's just all of a sudden it just
Put
goes.
both hands up. Put both hands up. Don't touch nothing.
but I won't be able to flick it off really quick. If it's all right. All right, we'll try this. All right, keep my hands here. So Dale Carnegie says you can gain more friends in 2 months by showing interest in them than spending 2 years trying to get them interested in you.
I love it.
So if people would just apply that one principle, show interest in others. Don't worry about them getting interested in you, because if you show interest in them, they're going to get interested in you. It's just going to happen.
And, it's interesting. If I look at you're touching something, I know that's doing it. You just stop touching things.
It's Stu. Stu's doing it.
No,
He's
I can
muting
mute you. He can't. I can't.
My hands are getting tired.
It's funny though that 4 years ago I didn't know. Stu needs to teach you lightweight shoulders. You'll be able to hold them up like this for forever. But air is heavy. But I didn't know who you were 4 years ago. And I just met you at a conference. But I would let you and your whole family come stay at my house. That is like the whole. If you needed money, I would send you money. I mean, we have that much of a relationship now. If you needed something, you could call me and I would help you. I wouldn't charge you. I would just if you had a question, we've done that. I mean, I'm just saying, somebody's phone's ringing.
Not mine.
Is that your phone, Stu?
I don't even have my phone near me.
Okay, that's just weird because I'm hearing somebody's phone or some kind of something making noise.
I think Mr. Pickles needs to mute his phone. I think he's.
Let me see. Hang on. I muted. No, it's coming from you, Christopher. I muted you and it stopped. Man, there are gremlins in your machine. You need a relationship with an IT professional. So.
Seriously, nothing's done.
It's that right hand. I don't know what the heck you're doing with your right hand.
Nothing's done.
But Mr. Pickles is not doing that, RJ. So the point that I'm trying to make, just thinking about relationships and thinking about relationships that I've had over the years and how they've influenced my business, influenced my life. And one of my best friend, probably my best friend in the whole world, other than my wife, is a guy named Dexter Godfrey. Who I've known we've been buddies since 1996. And he told me something one time that I thought was really, 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 really profound. I'm sure he got it from somewhere else. He said that people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And reason is a lot of times in business. I mean, I've had business partners that I did something with for a year, 6 months, one time, 10 years, whatever. And then they just kind of, it accomplished its purpose and it was over. A season, people that because you're in a certain job, because you're in a certain phase of your life. And then when that phase or job or whatever's over, you still think well of them, but you just, whatever reason, the circumstances of you having a relationship are done. And then the lifetime, those are the people that no matter what changes, no matter what you're doing, no matter what's going on, you can still know that you could pick up the phone, even if it's been 5 years, and within 5 minutes, it'd be like no time has passed, or it's somebody that you see or talk to all the time. And I think that when we think about relationships, some people are only thinking about the reason. And when you're only focused on the reason you want to have a relationship with somebody, that makes you that's where it becomes about you instead of about the other person. But in my opinion, and I think we'll be talking about this when I'm talking at the symposium, but you're going to tell people here in a minute, and we're going to whiteboard what you're going to have me talk about. That's going to be a fun little exercise. So everybody will be able to see what I'm going to talk about, and you get to order up. So the thing is, what I've realized over the years, because my whole business has been built, the biggest leaps and bounds I've ever had in my business have always been as a result of a relationship, either an existing relationship or a new relationship. And often what happens is that relationship with the person produces what I call a baby. The baby is it might be an ebook, might be a coaching course, might be a software product, but it creates a thing. You create a thing together. And so sometimes that baby grows up, moves on. Sometimes that baby, revolts and goes to jail. Sometimes that baby, gets abducted by aliens and is gone. But for some people, I mean, you raise something together, and your relationship is really strong. I mean, if you look at like Stu, I met Stu. It's coming up on like 8-9 years now. I mean, I think it's 2012-ish, 2012, 2013. It's been a while. And so, I looked at Stu and I was like, this dude's cool. I would just like to be this guy's friend. Wasn't like, hey, let's go in business or anything like that. I'm like, this guy's cool. He's cool. He's a dad. He's a former Navy SEAL. He's really into fitness. He likes to write. We had a lot of stuff in common, and I knew I could learn a lot of stuff from him. And so I was like, I want to be this dude's friend. So when he asked me, ebook coach, what's that all about? And I started, just giving him free advice. I'm paying him to coach me, but I'm giving him free advice. But I didn't even think about it that way. And
but
then,
also, I didn't know who you were.
Oh, I know.
I didn't know you were Jim Edwards.
Oh, stop.
No, I'm serious. I had no idea. I haven't really gone
He's
down
Jim Edwards?
I hadn't gone down that journey looking into what you do until I saw this ebook coach on your email address. And then I started saying, damn, he knows what he's talking about. I need to listen to this guy.
But we became friends, and then Stu came to me and was like, hey, dude, what do you think about this? And we created DIY Media Marketing Academy. That was kind of like the baby that we had together. And then some things changed, and then we folded that into the Jim Edwards method. And at that point, it could have been like, okay, we're done. But because we have a relationship, it's like, hey, dude, what's the next phase of our relationship? Let's do a podcast. You figured out podcast. I'm sucking at this. I've been talking about it for a year. Can you be the podcast producer? And Hannah's like, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that we found a way to keep the relationship going personally, professionally, all that stuff. And it's important to understand that a relationship it's not a relationship in and of itself is not a payoff. It's a journey. It's you're deciding to go on a journey with someone. And that's what creates a real relationship. I mean, I can envision like 15 years ago, 15 years from now, when I'm getting to be 70, that Stu will still be sending me some kind of workouts, and we'll be talking smack and getting after it. And he's, whether he likes it or not, he's part of my life with that. And, same thing with you. In some way, shape, or form, you'll be sticking around because you send me pickle whistles and we just have fun. And it's I think that's really where we want to get to, though, is not every relationship is going to be for a lifetime, but that reason, a season, and a lifetime. Also, when you understand that when people fall out of your life, you don't have to feel bad. It's that relationship served the purpose that it had. I think it's when it becomes manipulative that it becomes an issue. What do you think, Stu? We've been doing all the talking. What are your thoughts?
I think this, when two people love each other very much.
Oh my God. And they lay really close together.
Oh my gosh.
We have a baby.
Uh-oh. Are we on a delay? Is this on a delay? Are we on a delay? Okay, now we're clear. Go ahead, Stu.
No, I agree with
Tell me more, Mommy! Where do baby pickles come from?
This guy of 9 kids, I'm really interested in what you had to say, so keep going. I might understand what happened. Go for it.
He might have figured it out, either that or he didn't.
I had an epiphany right now. Keep going, Stu.
Yeah, that's how we grow. and make new products. No, I like this because, you know, one thing that in my business, I offer, you know, young men and women who want to serve free training, right? So when I first meet somebody, I am giving them everything that I have done for years, right? But you're right, that investment goes so far because I have people all over the military, law enforcement, firefighter worlds that I can now rely on to help others. I can get information from them when the changes are occurring, and those relationships are built on my initial investment into those people. And you're right. You know, and it feels better to give than receive. You know, it really does. So I think it all rolls into that big ball, and the more relationships you have, you know, the better. You know, this grow. Yeah.
Michael just made a good comment from LinkedIn. He said relationships or investments are like a bank account. If you stop making deposits, you won't be able to make withdrawals. And that's absolutely true. I mean, you have to, again, back to Stu's example, you have to make a deposit before you can make a withdrawal. So, you know, that's really true. And I think it comes down to your intention. If your intention is to serve, Vicky just said being of service is very cool. If your intention is to serve, then people can either accept your service and want to have a relationship with you or not. And it's not it's not you done with that drink, Stu?
Well, now I gotta go to the bathroom now.
So, yeah, really. I gotta use her can too now.
Pause.
But there was I forget what there was some ancient proverb thing. It's like if somebody, it's a story about the devil keeps harassing someone, tempting them, and finally just asks the guy, why aren't you accepting this? And the wise man looks at him and says, well, if someone offers you a gift and they refuse it, to whom then does the gift belong? And the devil's like, ooh, it belongs to me. Right. So if I'm offering service and someone refuses it, it's not like it's rejection. I'm still the one with all the benefit. They've refused the benefit. There's and I think that stops a lot of people starting a relationship, is they're scared they'll be rejected. If you lead with service, you can't be rejected. They can only reject the offer of service. They can only reject the value, which means you still retain the value. And that's the way I've always looked at it. And it's kept me from, that's why I can do some of the things that I do and not feel rejected or scared. I mean, I'm not scared. I'll walk up to anybody now, but that's a different mindset.
You know, we're going to talk about that because that's one of the things that holds people back a lot too. Is they have this false belief that, oh, this person won't recognize me, or, you know, they won't respond to me. And, you know, I'm too small, they're too big. You know, they're such a big person. And, you know, the fact is that's just not true. They will. I mean, people I call it the human factor. And, you know, if you do something genuinely for somebody,
right,
humanly, the human factor is it's reciprocity. They just can't help themselves that they want to return the favor, or they want to be able to say those magical words that you love to hear. Hey, is there anything I can do to help you? Or is there anything, you know, please let me know what I can do to help you. And that's a beautiful thing. Those are the magic words that you want everyone to hear and to say.
Absolutely. And that, again, if your service, if your offer is genuine, if people reject it, they just reject it. It's nothing on you. You know? So let me ask you this. I'm going to be talking at the Return on Relationship Symposium. Symposium. That means they charge more. I mean, that's like, you know, if it was just a summit, then it's free. If it's a symposium, it's like $30 million.
You got to pull your beard. When you say symposium, you have to kind of do this.
Symposium. Okay.
Perfect. Love it.
So what do you want me to teach? What do you want me to talk about?
So you gave a really great perspective about, so I want you to talk about relationships, but I want you to bookend. Obviously I want to talk about relationships, but one of the key things is you're speaking on day one. And so people need to get into their minds who their avatar is.
Okay.
People need to understand. So when you're coming up, I mean, everyone talks about coming up with lists. You hear the word Dream 100 a lot. And actually, that tends to be a little overwhelming. And that actually stops a lot of people from building relationships because they're like, crap, I can't come up with 100 people.
I don't know 2 people. How am I going to come up with 100 people?
So I was just on the call with a guy yesterday. And he goes, man, I can't come up with 100 people. I go, you don't need to come up with 100 people. I said, come up with a list of 5. And actually, we divide all of our contacts into different categories. That's a mechanic thing. We're going to get in that at Symposium. But for you, Jim, if people know who their avatar is, if people know who they're serving, if people know who they're going to add value to, you want to reach out to other people that have your avatar. Friendships and relationships are great, but we know that relationships are a vehicle to wealth. And so if Stu's audience is the same audience that I know, like, and serve, it would be a good idea for me to become close with Stu, because at some point in time, there might be an opportunity to have access or do something together to reach Stu's audience. So if somebody knows who their avatar is, they know who they serve, then you know the individuals that you want to go out and network with, build relationships with. Okay.
So you want me to talk about your avatar as it relates to your who you want to have an ROR with.
Exactly.
Okay. And I could tell some stories, multi-million-dollar stories about that. 8-figure stories. Okay. Huh. Well, that sounds pretty compelling. That sounds like fun. What else would you like me to teach?
Well, I would love to have you going a little bit into your microwave crock pot a little deeper, because that was pretty intense.
All right.
You have a really great perspective on the right way and the wrong way. I mean, and that's the other issue too. I mean, one of the reasons why people offend people, the goal is to get someone to draw and lean into you. And just like the relationship that you and I had, Jim, you kind of leaned into me because I was interesting and I wasn't like that normal person that you felt like, what does this person want from me?
Sure. Well, and yeah, I mean, you knew how to do some cool stuff that I was like, it almost flipped it flipped the script where it was like, hey, this dude knows some stuff that I need to figure out how to get some stuff out of this guy. I mean, it wasn't in a bad way, but it was, I saw how knowing you could serve me, even though I knew that you were trying to, nose your way in with me. I know that sounds bad, but it was true. I mean, but I'm like, okay, let's see what the guy, he's a good dude. Seems like a good dude.
And there's a way that you can nose your way in without making people feel like you're nosing.
Right. It puts your person's guard down.
Sure.
It brings their natural. We all have these natural guards when we first meet people. And sometimes it's just a quick sentence that brings that guard down. And are you a master at that, Christopher? Would you say that is your thing?
That is one of my superpowers. I mean, it definitely is a superpower. People have told me that you have a way of making people feel comfortable, and you have a way of reaching people. And the thing is, this is something that can be taught. I mean, some people just naturally aren't good at this. I mean, they're like a bull in a china shop, and but if, all of us need mentors, all of us can be taught new things. I mean, you guys teach just incredible stuff to people that don't know what they're doing in certain fields. And so it's definitely something that can be taught. It takes practice, and it takes action. You have to try. And, if I could tell a really quick story, where this whole ROR thing comes from for me is I was a mama's boy. I follow my mom everywhere. I'd go to the wallpaper store or the paint store and watch her pick out wallpaper. I just followed my mom around everywhere. And I remember one time she went to the bank and she had a big check she had to cash. It was like $10,000. and I think it was a settlement for my dad's client. He was an attorney, and the check had to be cashed. For some reason, the client couldn't cash it. So my mom walked into the bank, and she went up to the teller and said, "I'd like to cash this check." And the teller said, "Well, I need to, back in the olden days, you couldn't get into a computer. You had to call the other bank and make sure that the check was good and that they could give cash out for that check." Well, they couldn't get a hold of the person on the other end. And they came back up the counter and said, "I'm sorry, Mrs. Voss, we can't get a hold of the other bank to know if this check is good." So she said, "Hold on one second." She walked around the counter and she went over to the guy behind the big desk, which is either the bank president or the branch manager. Back then, banks were small. They weren't global like they are now. And I heard some conversation, and I heard the man say this: "For Mrs. Voss, anything." And then she walked around the counter and she said, "Mrs. Voss, would you like big bills or small bills?" And that left an impression upon me. And then when I think about this day, I know why they did that. My mom would go into the bank, other than just holidays. She hit all the holidays, but she would go in and take perfume, treats, gifts, ties, pocket squares, different things for the bank president or the bank manager, the owner, and the tellers. She built a relationship with these people. So when they came down to cash in a $10,000 check and they didn't know if they were going to be stuck with that, if it was a bad check, they knew my mom, they knew who she was, they trusted her, and they were willing to put themselves out there for her for that $10,000. And that's the same thing in all the world that we're in business, online businesses. People know, like, and trust you. You have that relationship. They're willing to extend themselves to help you and collaborate with you and do joint ventures with you because they know who you are. They know the person you are. And once they know that, that brings down, like you said, Stu, all those walls. They crumble, they come down, and then you can do some amazing things together once you bring down those walls. But I learned that lesson from my mom when I was a little kid, and that's kind of where that's ground zero for ROR.
I want to give some props to moms on this because I grew up in a home-based business when being in a home-based business was not cool, was not the thing that people aspired to, that all your friends looked at you and were like, your parents don't have jobs. What is wrong with you? No, seriously. I mean, my mom and dad, I grew up on the craft circuit in the 70s, man. I mean, craft shows, I learned about one-to-one belly-to-belly sales. I learned about merchandising. I learned about customer retention. I mean, my mom was so smart. She did database marketing back when we didn't even have a computer. She had a card file and she had the information on all of her customers, the people she had met. She was really good at talking people up, chatting people up at the craft shows. And so when she was going to a craft show, she would send little notes out to ladies that had come to the previous mall because it was a circuit. And there were plenty of times when the mall was dead, but my mom had a steady stream of people that were coming in to see her. And to the point that she was telling the craft show promoters, "I'm not paying you because I'm bringing the people in." So the other thing that she used to do is our house was also the store, was storage, was production, was everything. So my mom, around Christmas times, or she knew when there were anniversaries, or she kept in touch with these people. They made padded picture frames and albums and stuff, really beautiful stuff. And she would invite these ladies over to the house. She'd have crumb cakes and cookies and stuff. These ladies would come downstairs. They'd go through my mom's whole showroom and just start loading them up. She's giving them extra little, just take this one too. The stuff that she couldn't sell that was still cool for whatever reason wasn't selling. She was giving it to the ladies. I mean, just adding so much value with the relationships. I mean, my parents had a 6-figure business going from home with no computer, with nothing. It was all based on relationships. And that's where I learned from my mom. I mean, in my mind, this whole online thing is nothing but a giant electronic craft show. That's what I've always told her, that's what this is. just with people not coming to the mall, they're coming to the website. Now they can come to Zoom and stuff like that. But that has been universal, that relationships are what drive real commerce. If you want to be in real business, you better have a relationship with people, with providers, with suppliers, with the customers, because you never know who's going to be the person that you're going to need some help from, or who might need some help from you. And it's just, everything I needed to learn about relationships, I learned from my mom in a craft business. And I'm sure, Stu, you have similar story looking at your parents with owning the newspaper and
absolutely.
Stuff. I mean, any parent story you want to share just to round us out?
My dad had a way, and my mom worked with him too. My mom was basically an English teacher that worked as a newspaper editor, right? And my dad was a journalist. That's probably why I'm a writer. I always had two sets of eyes checking out what I was doing when I was turning it into high school. So I actually became okay at it. But they always had those relationships with customers that, let's say, they were looking for ads, because that's how you make money in newspapers. You make, advertisements, and not all customers could pay the amount of money that they were doing. So, and my dad knew which ones had a hard time paying. And he said, hey, we can do a barter deal if you want to do that, for this next month, or, keep you in the paper for, next, couple of months. And so that's what he did. I mean, a lot of his business was bartering with people that were just trying to get more sales. And, I think those relationships enabled those businesses to thrive, as well as, Dad coming home with a lot of stuff. I think we got our swimming pool in our backyard was some kind of barter deal my dad did with the pool company.
I think that's great. That's better than paying taxes on the money. I'd always rather trade for something like that.
Yeah, I think
beautiful
tiling in the kitchen and cabinets. I mean, it was just always something, some home project that my dad bartered that we had to do. But no, it was all relationships. Yeah.
Stu's family made all their money in the black market. I love it. Now, I've met your dad. I could see him just being the kind of dude that could just work all that stuff out.
Yeah. That's where he started. He started in advertising sales, and then he became an editor. Then he became a publisher, and he worked his way through the whole business and did it all his life. So,
absolutely, that's a cool story, man. That's a very cool story. It's funny how we all, from our parents, have really seen and learned, and I'm sure we have other experiences and stuff, but it's interesting that you learn that or don't learn that from your parents, the first person. But like you say, Christopher, it's absolutely something that you can learn how to do, even if you were raised by wolves. I absolutely believe that it's something that you can learn, and you're going to be able to learn from people who are doing it subconsciously competent now. I mean, you don't even think about it. Just that's how you operate. So tell us a little bit more about the symposium and where people can go to sign up, because I think everybody should go and sign up.
And I didn't mean to interrupt you. You were doodling something up there before I broke into my mom's story, so I didn't want to take away from anything you were writing on your amazing board there. So
that's okay. How much are you expecting me to have prepared versus you're just going to interview me and draw it out of me?
We could just sit there and talk and it would be valuable. So, just bring Mr. Pickles along. We're golden. We're perfect.
All right.
Now,
I'll send the contract.
So next week, November 9th, 10th, and 11th, it's 3 days. It's a 3-day symposium, and it's ROR University.com/event. ROR University.com/event. That's where you go register for the symposium. We have 34 speakers, and these 34 people are not just randomly picked. These are 34 people that absolutely rock building relationships. We've got, Jim, we've got you, we've got Russell Brunson, we have Alex Sharfin, Allison Prince, a little guy that we might all know called Mark Victor Hansen, who wrote a famous book called Chicken Soup for the Soul. Mark is going to come talk to us. And when I interviewed him, we could have talked for a couple hours, but I'm like, I don't want to take too much of your time. But he picked up his phone and he said, I have 10,000 contacts in my phone. And he said, if you have only 200 contacts in your phone, your relationship anemic, I think is what he said. But he said, I have 10,000 contacts in my phone and I could call or text every one of these people. And unless they're on a plane going over the ocean somewhere and don't have cell signal, they'll all get back to me and all would be willing to help me. And it was just really interesting to see him say that. So Mark Victor Hansen, like I said, Russell Brunson, I mean, he's going to talk about how he built his businesses on relationships. He talked about how they didn't buy one single Facebook ad for about 2.5 years when they started ClickFunnels. Everything was built on relationships from the very beginning. And so what's great about it is you're going to learn from me. I'm going to teach everything I know about ROR, the ROR method, the mechanics, the ins and outs. You're going to walk away from this and you're going to learn, you're going to know how to do this. You're going to know how to do it the right way. And you're going to get to learn from people that have applied it in their businesses that literally have multi-million-dollar businesses. And it's all built on relationships. Russell said, I did it all in relationships, hands down. And so you're going to hear people teach it to you and you're going to get a different perspective because everyone has a little bit of a twist on how they do it. And so all 34 of these people have a little different way that they do it, but there's a common thread that goes through all of them. And that's why they've all been chosen to speak. And I'm just super excited, Jim, to have you participate in it. It means a lot to have your participation and everyone. And if you want proof of concept that ROR works, just go to roruniversity.com/event and look at that group picture. Look at that picture of all the speakers that are speaking next week. And then just ask yourself the question, does this work? It does, because all 34 of those people agreed to participate in the symposium and contribute because
you muted.
They believe in me. Thanks. They believe in me, just like the bank people believed in my mom. All these people believe in me and what I'm trying to teach and my movement and the things that I'm trying to change and how I'm trying to help and serve people. And that's what makes great things happen. And so please don't miss this. If you can't make it to the whole thing, there are replays that you'll be able to get. So there's no excuse for missing this. This is the best group of people on planet Earth that are going to talk about relationships in 3 days. And it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
So let me ask you this, and this is just my gut reaction. It's not a negative, but that's a lot of people. So isn't it going to get a little crowded there with 34 people talking about this?
There are 34 different people and they're all going to have, Jim, I picked people that, like I said, there's a common thread, but they all have a different way they approach relationships and they've used it. And so people are going to get a well-rounded approach from a lot of different people and it's going to be full. It is a lot of people. We've got an MC. So at Funnel Hacking Live, they have the Devon that MCs the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I've got a guy by the name of Dom Mamoni, and he's our virtual MC. And so he's going to navigate through all the speakers, and we're going to have a virtual MC. And here's what's really cool, Stu. I think you'll love this with your background. In the morning between 8 and 9 o'clock before we start at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Between 8 and 9, we have a guy named Demetrius Theros. This guy talks about, he's going to do meditation and mindset. So he's going to get everybody in this. He taps into people's energy fields around their bodies. It's incredible. He did it with me, and I just felt amazing after I got done doing it. So he's going to do this and get everybody in an absolute peak state,
nice
peak mind state, so that when we go in this at 9 o'clock, everyone's brains and everything is just all tied in so they can just absorb all the things we're teaching. So super excited about doing that in the morning.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Where's my ticket? Do I have to pay?
You know the answer to that.
Yes. Y'all need to go to roruniversity.com/event, and definitely you want to sign up and be there. I'm going to be catching I'll be catching as much of it live as I can with my busy schedule and also catching the replays and stuff. So You absolutely want to be there. There's nobody I know that's better, except maybe my mom, at creating relationships with people, getting to know people, and being able to teach other people how to do it. That you're better than my mom at. My mom just does it. It's innate. But knowing how to do it, giving people the strategies, giving people the tools, and just how to do it genuinely, and do a great job at it. So I, again, cannot recommend this highly enough. That's not an affiliate link. I'm getting nothing out of this. RORuniversity.com/event. Definitely want to go sign up for that. Make a huge difference if you want to make a quantum leap in your business, because if you're not going to do it with Facebook ads, you're not going to do it with blogging, you're not going to do it with YouTube videos, you're not going to hit a viral video that gets 1 million people to watch it. I know somebody who had a viral video that actually had over 1 million views and didn't make a single dime from it. So that's not the point. Where I've had the biggest quantum leaps in my business, and everyone else I know, has been through cultivating relationships, and I'm not going to say exploiting those relationships, because that's not what it is, but it's getting a return on the relationship, and it's a win-win-win-win. So that's a great thing to do. I'm looking at the screen here of everybody you got. There's a whole bunch of different, and there's going to be a whole lot of different perspectives there. I can tell you that right up front, which will be great. So, Stu, any final thoughts?
No, I just love the fact that you can teach mutually beneficial relationships, because that's what these are, right? I mean, that's obviously, if you're going to have a relationship, you want it to be mutually beneficial, right? And one person may have to give time, the other person may have to give something else, right? But there's this give and take, with both, and like you said, it's a return. So I love it. I think it's a great concept, and we could all be better at making better friends.
Absolutely.
The logo has those arrows that go around, and it's got the 2 R's with the 2 hands shaking in the middle. And the whole reason I did those arrows is relationships are infinite. I mean, if there's a return on relationship, meaning it's not just all one-sided, if there's a return, that's never ending. It will never end. And that's what's beautiful about it. And whether it's a pickle whistle, but just like with you, Jim, I mean, I would do anything for you. I mean, if you would said, fly to my house tomorrow because I need help digging a ditch and no one will help me dig the ditch, I'd hop on a plane and come help you dig a ditch.
And that's a great friend, because a sort of friend would just send you a shovel from Amazon. That would be, that's a friend, but you're a real friend.
Or, if they rented you a whole power digger, now that's a real friend, because then, those are fun to operate and all that, kind of stuff. But
see, here's the key. I own an excavator. So what it would be you selling me on you coming to help me dig because you wanted to ride on my excavator. That's where we get into that circle thing.
Now you got me. Now I really want to come use that thing.
That's right. Well, that's awesome. And this was a lot of fun. We went longer than I thought we were going to, but that's cool. We were learning and sharing, and I learned some stuff about you I didn't know, and about Stu as well. And we owe all our success. I know where little people coming from now. I didn't know. So Thank you, Stu. Appreciate that.
Aha moment, Stu. Thank you. I finally get it. I get it now. I think it's too late.
Yeah, exactly. But I got this one. And it was just really, really good. So again, everybody head on over to RORuniversity.com/event. We will see you next week for podcast episode number 138. And we'll just appreciate you joining us on the Jim and Stu Show. And we will talk to you soon. Head on over to RORuniversity.com/event. And we will see you all there next week live.